今一定好きですそれやこれやこれやHere's Johnny. Here's Johnny. Can you dig it?
I was not expecting that.
That's a Halloween piece. That goes on for like 10 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's really neat. It was done about 2 years ago for a Halloween party that we had on live stream.
Oh,
Was
yeah, Halloween parties were a thing. COVID. Yep.
Right.
I remember that. Thank God we're getting back to the more or less, I hope. Nice hat, by the way. And I'm not the only one who's making that comment. You look like Indiana Jones.
Well, that's my Indiana Jones hat. That's felt hat's exactly what it is.
It's a good hat.
Yeah, I got it for my first trip to the Caribbean.
Oh.
Which was kind of a jungle trip. I was in the outbacks in Haiti, up in the mountains.
You were in Haiti?
Yeah, I spent about 7 years off and on in Haiti, doing mission work mostly.
That is I hear it's hell on earth.
Well, it depends where you are. It's certainly nothing like anything in the U.S., no matter where you are. It's either in the mountains, it's more like rural Africa. It's very tiny primitive villages. In the cities, well, the two big cities are Cape Haitian and Port-au-Prince. Port-au-Prince is a hellhole.
Yeah.
That's
the reputation.
Cape Haitian is really, it's almost touristy. It's a different feeling altogether. The people are much more open to visitors, and it has more of a colonial old world kind of feel to it.
Okay.
So it's a really interesting place. I would not go back to Port-au-Prince today. It's become very dangerous.
Yes, I hear even like it doesn't. Yeah, I hear kidnapping is a business, a thriving business.
Well, it is. That's right, exactly, and you can expect it to happen.
Yeah, I hear like they target people with cars. They usually target people that have there are two in a car, so that way they take one and the car, and they leave one to go tell the family that who exactly the information how to get them back.
I know it's very mad place. There's a Cité Soleil. Cité Soleil. I was trying to remember the name of it. Cité Soleil is probably probably the worst place on earth for a non-native to be. It is a warren of fabricated tents. It's like a tent and tin city.
Sounds like Los Angeles.
Well, except that it's wall to wall. I
Oh,
mean, it's just a solid warren of a maze of I don't know 20,000 people.
tense. You haven't clearly you haven't been to Los Angeles recently or
Yeah,
San Francisco.
it's mainly black market. People
Yeah.
go there when they're looking to get something that they can't get anywhere else.
Oh.
Well, but what the I went looking for razors. I committed
Like
to make yeah, I committed to do a donation of disposable razors for the local hospital, and I wanted to
okay.
buy 1,000 disposable razors, and I got them there. They were how much? I think I paid 10 cents a piece.
It's actually expensive. Well, it
Well,
depends. It depends on the type of razor, I guess.
yeah, yeah. I don't remember how much I paid. Yeah, I think $100 for 1,000.
For 1,000. Yeah. I know you can get razors cheaper at the dollar store, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend them.
Well, it was they were brand new too. I mean, they were brand new in the package. They were
Oh no,
nothing wrong with them.
no potential AIDS, nothing like that.
Well, yeah, right down, City Soleil is right on the docks, right next
Okay.
to the dock.
Port City.
It's a port city, right? Except it's a black market port city.
Okay.
They you can buy slaves in City Soleil.
Yes. You didn't have to say it, but I
Mostly
figured.
children.
Mostly children. I know.
Children in well, any age really. I met a number of slaves. They don't use the term slave. They have another word for it, but it amounts to the same thing. When a family has children that they can't care for, they sell them, and it's not wealthy people who buy them. It's
Hillary Clinton?
well, middle class or lower. No, it's families. It's people who have homes.
Well, are for like servants?
Yeah,
Or
exactly. They buy them to
oh,
do the laundry, do the cooking, clean the house,
I should tell
and
my
they have a
children
little
that.
shed out in the backyard
Hmm.
where they live. It's a very meager kind of existence, and they're not wealthy people. They just are able to feed one more mouth.
Right.
Really, all it amounts to.
Well, it's actually not a bad system there.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to tell my children that.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm not in the market if they're interested.
no, but last night, and I know you know this. What up, fish people? Last night was homecoming for my middle schoolers, and so I ended up having 7 teenagers sleep over
Wow.
last night. Yeah, it
Good
was
for you.
7. Yeah, so the next morning or late morning before everybody left, I made them all clean, and so my house is actually clean.
Really?
I'm not kidding. They
Oh,
were
good for
vacuuming.
you.
Yeah, they destroyed my house, but then I made them make it better than what it was. That's
Good
the
for
price you
you.
pay. Yeah, so I mean, I had them mopping the kitchen floor and vacuuming, and if I was bold enough, I should have made them dust too.
Well, you had a good time though. When I called you, you were in the car with all of them going to get pizza or ice cream or something.
Yeah, pizza. Yeah, I just call me the Uber. And also the person who pays
Well,
for the
they were
pizza.
revved up too. They were all cheering and hollering "Father Fish" or whatever they were saying.
Yeah, they
That
were.
was fun. That was
Yeah,
fun.
you're well known. So, um, yeah. Speaking of Father Fish and being well known, let's talk food web.
All right. Listen, what are you doing with your culture? You were kind of consolidating
I still
your
got three.
cultures.
I still have three cultures of Daphnia and three separate cultures of Daphnia. I've got more scuds than I know what to do with. I have like a million bottles of vinegar eels. Those are easy to keep though. I might as well just send you a bottle. Oh my god.
Yeah, I've
Um,
only got one actually. I just put some apple in it today.
yeah. I'm surprised it hasn't doubled yet or tripled or quadrupled. These things, I mean, they they'll feed your
No, I
fish.
need to get another one going. I
Yeah.
threw a jar away yesterday. I should have. Maybe I can dig it out.
Yeah. I mean, even my beta fish eat vinegar eels, and they're tiny. So, just a little
Well, yeah,
snack.
they can eat microscopic food. They do.
They do.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. And then yesterday I was watching another one of my beta fish. The at night scuds are nocturnal and they're all hovering around a sponge filter, an old sponge. Like
Uh,
um, it wasn't on because I didn't want to listen to the air. I just wanted to watch. And so, but there were still particles of food for the scuds, and they were all like gathered around it. And then the beta fish was just picking them off one by one.
right,
And
right.
yeah, it was a neat little thing to watch. So, um, I still I have blackworms. Honestly, I don't really feed my fish that much anymore unless I'm trying to breed them.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah,
but
you need to get them egged up. Right.
yeah, but
They'll need food
I
too.
really
You know.
I really don't feed them that much. There's just so much food already in there,
Right.
and it's self-sustaining. Like they're yeah, it's I don't really feed them that much. I just have these cultures that I give them for treats and things like that. Or like I know there's females and I want to egg them up. Yeah,
So, what cultures do you have? That you've mentioned three things.
Daphnia, blackworms, vinegar eels. I did have brine shrimp, but I think it got too cold because I was leaving it outside. It went down to 50, so
Now that well, they slow down.
they slow down. I think also it probably the salinity was too high. I should have
No,
no.
can't be too high.
Then I don't know what
They
happened
live in
then.
they live in the Dead Sea, or
Oh,
essentially that's the Great Salt Lake is
mhm.
essentially a Dead Sea.
Oh, then I don't know what happened then. I just
They
maybe
probably just ran out of nutrition.
I don't know, man. I cleaned out the I didn't clean it out. I cleaned it up, but I ended up dumping it. And there was a lot of I guess I don't know what you call it. It was like algae, but it's saltwater algae.
Right.
Yeah. So it
Yeah.
was that's
Luke,
Luke. Yeah.
that's Luke. Yeah.
Lord help us.
Is he coming?
But yeah, so I don't know. There was I don't know. Maybe they did run out of nutrition, but
What are you
um,
doing, Luke? He's not coming up.
I think it might be a connection. Yeah.
Oh, he just wanted to turn the banner on. I see.
Ah.
Oh, sneaky guy.
Scuds. I have a
Good, right?
snails, pea puffers. Um, I don't know what happened to the brine shrimp, to be honest. I really
Well,
don't.
generally it'll do real well.
It may have been that they did run out of nutrition because I guess does it get to the point because I think it happened with me with one of my Daphnia cultures. They just started multiplying to the point where the system itself couldn't sustain it.
Yeah, and they just starved out. Well, that's exactly what happens.
And
You
then,
got
well,
enough, you got enough predators in there and all the prey disappears, and then the
Uh-huh.
predators starve.
Well, that's what's interesting. It's like maybe a few of them, like quite a few of them, start to die, and then it creates so much ammonia with the dead thing.
Yeah. Well, that's
It's like
true
a
too, and that'll just cascade.
right. I think that's happened with one or two of my Daphnia cultures before, and I think that oh, and I think that's what it is that I saw. So, because when I do a quick water with one of my Daphnia cultures, it happened a couple of times. I do a quick water change, and there's still always a few Daphnia left. Um,
There always is. There is always one. If you have a fish die off
mhm.
in a tank from oxygen depletion because something has died, and
Yeah,
the bacteria has burned up all the oxygen, there will always be one left.
the survivor.
The lone survivor. I don't know why
It's like
that is,
it's like the
but I
fish version of the Hunger Games.
consistently true.
Mhm.
Strange. Ah,
Oh, let me we have a few people who are really into the food web tonight. I'm glad you announced it that way. Chris Infusoria would like another easy way to maintain culture. Would you recommend vinegar eels, man? Vinegar eels. Those things. I don't know how big of a culture like what size fish are you feeding?
well, vinegar eels are easy because they'll live forever on nothing. I mean, you can have a culture. I did it once. I had a culture that sat up on a shelf for 10 years.
10 years?
10 years, totally ignored. Brought it down, put some potato in it,
Uh-huh.
and it came right back. Took about a week.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
I
just
think the
they can
biggest go
they
ahead.
can maintain themselves on nothing indefinitely.
Yeah. They're
There
great
weren't
for
many,
food.
there were just a few left, but
Yeah.
that that's what I would call permanent culture.
Yeah. I still have a couple of green water cultures. So I've emptied most of my green water tanks because my husband seems to think that when I leave them, well, first of all, it's not as hot as it was. So my husband tends to think that it looks like I'm running a meth lab on my balcony with the green water. Um, but because I live in Houston, I still have I've got a tank outside that's got plants in it, and it turned green. So I've been feeding the Daphnia with that. I've never really the few times I've tried feeding Daphnia, what do you call it, yeast and a spirulina mixture with
Yeah,
I've thrown in a couple of things too,
it,
like
it
brown
usually
rice and
fouls the
milk.
water.
Yeah, it's never worked out well. But the green water that I filter with a silk cloth, um, it feeds them for like a week, more even.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've never had to worry about overfeeding or clogging the water because it's a living thing, or fouling the water rather. Um, Hi, current comment. So I guess everything I've de-escalated to a smaller scale, and frankly, everything that I have is laced with organics. So the other day, actually yesterday, when I was feeding the Daphnia, I oh, took some the other day. Actually yesterday, when I was feeding the Daphnia. What is that? Okay. Um,
I opened YouTube. Excuse me. Opened the YouTube channel.
oops. Yeah. So
Vinegar eels are roundworms. No, vinegar eels are microscopic.
yeah.
They're typically used as food for very, very tiny babies. It's what is it? It's like a paramecium, only smaller than a paramecium, slightly.
I mean, you take a look at some of my water, there's like water fleas in there, there's copepods, there's like these, right? I cannot pronounce the type. I mean, there's detritus worms. I can't ever pronounce. It's like a It starts with an RH. It's another type of detritus worm that's really delicious. Maybe it's the Turbotrix.
Tubifex.
Tubifex. There's, and I'm sure I know I've seen planaria and leeches in there, but they're like the harmless kind. And like the fish gobble them up. So, and they don't kill any of my babies. So, I mean, they've got to be the harmless kind.
Feed green water culture. You can feed them leaves. You can feed them like a dead roach. You can feed a
I've
little
used plant fertilizer.
fertilizer, right?
Yeah, I use this plant fertilizer that seems to like really spike it for some reason. I
Fertilizer
love it.
works very well.
Yeah. And then you just filter it. Oops. You just, before you feed it to the Daphnia, you just filter it with a silk cloth so that it's just the green water filter that the Daphnia eats.
Oh.
Yeah.
So far as selling cultures, we've been fiddling around with it, trying to find a way to be able to ship it.
I haven't been able to successfully ship a lot of stuff. I haven't tried it since the summer. It's been frustrating because like I would send you stuff and like the Daphnia wouldn't make it, or like one of the scud cultures wouldn't make it.
Right.
Or like, I mean, I sent you green water. How did that hold up?
It depends. I was able to get some, but we did it twice. First time it didn't work, but then it was in the mail for 5 days.
Yeah, that didn't work out well.
And the last day, it sat out in the mailbox for an entire afternoon.
Yeah,
in summer heat.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
There was really no hope for that one.
Yeah, vinegar eels. I use the vinegar eels for my scarlet batis and my Elosoma everglada fry, and they love it. They absolutely love it.
Cornish Fish says, "I have a shell dweller tank with no plants that has a lot of algae in it.
Ooh.
How can I get rid of it?"
Put plants in it.
Yeah, right. Put plants in it. Shell dwellers don't hate plants.
What type of shell dwellers? Are they hard on plants?
No, they're not at all. They live in fairly deep water.
Okay.
Where there's the main plant is algae. Algae is actually a natural plant for a lot of the Malawi and Tanganyika cichlids. Okay. In fact, the Malawis, we talked about this last week. The Malawis, their primary food, they have two things that they eat. One is algae, and they have teeth that vary species to species that determine the kind of algae they eat and where they cut the algae on the plant to eat it. The other thing they feed on that's endemic to the lakes is vast swarms of insects that fly out over the lakes. And of course, these are enormous lakes, like Lake Erie. And so the insects get far enough out, they can't fly anymore, and they just fall down into the water. So that becomes a primary food source for particularly for Lake Malawi. Tanganyika as well. Algae and bugs.
Bugs. Fish love bugs. I think First Class Fish has a vinegar eel tip. You mix oatmeal with the water and vinegar and then use that as the culture food. So you can just grab a scoop of that and then put it in the tank directly. I don't know. Vinegar eels are a pain to harvest until I just started filtering them with a silk net.
Interesting.
Yeah. You take that and you just put it directly into the tank? Like, how does that work? I just filter it through a silk net and then I turn the net inside out and swish it in the water. And the the vinegar eels are so thick, they're like they come out in clumps sometimes.
Yeah, the problem is this is a way of dealing with that issue. And I think, frankly, your solution is the best one I've ever heard of. Just filter them through a very fine clump. I used to use silk to filter paramecium. It's such a fine, fine weave that it'll capture virtually down, well, not a micron, but down to like under 100 micron.
So the guy, I know that you're, and I know we're jumping all over the place, but you're the asking about how to get rid of the algae with the shell dwellers, and somehow we've got to figure out plants for something like that. But I mean, what do you think about putting like a pothos in the top, or like floaters?
I was thinking about floaters. Yeah,
Yeah.
pothos would work. It would certainly keep the water column clear.
Yes.
Yeah.
It just depends on how much nitrates are in the water,
First
I
class
guess.
it's used as a coffee filter. That'll work. They work fine.
Yeah. I've used brine shrimp nets, and you'll catch some. You'll catch some vinegar eels, but more often than not, when you filter it, you'll look at the vinegar that was filtered, and you'll see more vinegar eels. So it wasn't as effective as using a finer material. Chris was wondering about brine shrimp nets. So
Right. Yeah, it's all that.
well, but I mean, I don't know. I haven't tried every single shrimp net, so maybe Bunny's had found some that have finer material. But you just have to, yeah. Pothos roots eat algae. Well, I mean, it's
No,
not about whether it
they
eats
compete
algae.
with it.
Yeah.
They compete with it. It's not nutrition for pothos, but they do compete for the same nutrition.
Yeah. Yeah. I find that when I'm trying to clean up the nitrates or the ammonia in a new tank, when I'm trying to get the cycle to like really get going, I put in potted plants. I have arrowroot and pothos, and then my little my patio pond downstairs. I have a lot of like plants I've just rooted in there. So there's arrowroot, there's pothos, there's wandering Jew, there's like basically I've kind of gone through the garden or go around, and I find like some sort of plant. I go, I wonder if I can root that, and so I stick it in my my patio pond, and sometimes they root. Oh, and I've taken some of my aquarium plants that I've tried to grow immersed, and I put them in. Yeah, and I put them in there, and they start thriving. So I've got some wisteria growing above, and I didn't even know this. I also have water sprite growing above.
Yeah, they both grow immersed, and
Yeah.
they change. They
Yeah, they
develop
do.
big flat leaves.
They do, and I have had some hygrophilia growing immersed.
Right.
And once they start growing immersed, the leaves turn purple. It
Oh
was the
yeah,
prettiest thing I'd ever seen.
yeah. The oatmeal thing is interesting. Um, it's commonly used to culture microworms.
Yeah, and that stinks. I tried it.
You
I'm not
gotta
doing it.
do it right.
I don't think I did it right.
There's a way to do it wrong and a way to do it right. You got to do it thick, like 4 to 6 inches thick. And
4 to
then you keep
6?
thick, yeah. You want it in a
Oh, I
like a
thought it was
1 quart container. I use rice. I
uh-huh.
go to the local Chinese shop and I buy a quart of rice, cooked rice,
Mm-hmm.
and I put a little bit of yeast on top of that and a spot of microworm culture, and I put a lid on it that has it's a screen lid, like for fruit flies.
Yeah.
It
Yeah, you keep the fruit flies out, but you don't want to
keeps the fruit flies
so you
out.
want oxygen in there.
Right. And I have had that go. The longest I had one go for was a year,
Mm-hmm.
and I was harvesting it routinely. Then it kind of lost track of it, and it dried out, but it never got foul.
Huh.
Not really sure I understand why. I think, however, that what happens is I think they go foul because they get too moist, and in a very shallow culture, the,
Yeah.
the moisture the moisture would tend to be at the top and would tend to cause it to rot, I guess.
Yeah, I know there's definitely like a form of rotting there that takes place. It's just, oh, it was awful. I couldn't, and I know if I really wanted to, I could have done it right. But I at that point, I just had so many cultures. I was like, you know what? I'm not all that interested in exploring this avenue when I've got enough that's thriving. Um, you know what I use to contain my vinegar eels because First Class Fish was saying um, First Class Fish was saying it's his containers, I believe, that it keeps spilling. I actually keep my vinegar eels in those 2 liter soda bottles, and then I have a paper towel that's over the top, and then I just either wrap it with an elastic band to hold it in place, or one of those twist ties, and I keep it under my sink indefinitely.
It's not less surface on the microroom. I mean, in a sense, it is. It's less surface for the total volume, but it's a greater volume. And what happens is
Or greater depth, you mean?
a greater depth, yeah. And the worms are eating that culture. They eat the yeast, but the yeast converts the culture, and that's what they eat. So you sprinkle yeast on it routinely, like once a week, just a light dusting, and that's what keeps the culture going. But the level will go down. It'll be being consumed.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never had it go bad, and I've had lots of them go. Shallow ones go bad.
Yeah. I think that was my mistake. First Class Fish, I use a funnel. So when I filter out the vinegar and I take the eels, like the vinegar solutions left, I just use a funnel and put them right back into the vinegar that was filtered out. I put it right back into the soda bottle container. It's a never ending cycle.
Yeah,
So
Bunny Viper, she doesn't use the filter floss system.
yeah, no filter floss. You know what? I'll be right back. I'll show you what I have. Be right back, y'all. Mm.
Yeah, it's pretty slick, really. I've never seen that done before, but it's a very effective. Part of the reason people don't do vinegar eels is it's such a bother getting the eels out. But EJ's worked out a way to do it that's super simple. And she will be back here in a minute with that. Let's see, I think I've got a culture. I should disappear too for a minute. Let me go get, I got a culture I wanted to show off. Oh, oh dear. Oh know you see anything in this. This has been out the entire summer.
Whee!
You know what I need to do with
All
it?
right.
I need to dump it in a tank.
Hello, what did I miss? All right. Gloves, because, you know, why not? Funnel. I can't find my I can't find my silk net. I basically used a small fish, like an aquarium fish net, and I just took silk material and I sewed it, took out the regular netting and just sewed it around, and then I just, you know, that's what I use. It's probably got about, you know, when I turn it inside out, I can, you know, it's just a small 3 to 4 inch net that's been converted. Soda bottle, napkin, paper towel, actually, rather, twist tie. Pour it right through the. I pour it right through the net into like any random container. It could be and it's usually like a kitchen container because this is vinegar. I mean, for the most part. So I just put it in like. I filter the vinegar, and it could be anything like a kitchen bowl, a mixing bowl, whatever. And then I just, you know, when I'm done, I just put it right back in. Throw it right back in. Like
Corny Fishing Game, thank you so much for the super chat.
Yeah.
Trying to find it so I can post it. There it is, right there.
Oh. One of us has to be in charge of this because we keep going back and forth.
Right. I just dumped culture in here.
Oh, what? Oh, I see a little Formosa.
Well, yeah, the Formosa are out looking for it.
Yeah.
Those are golden top minnows, little ones.
Oh, babies.
Are
you sure they aren't sailfin mollies? They actually look like a sailfin molly.
Yeah, right. There's one little bluefin killie.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna send you. I have one little bluefin killie. I'm gonna send that to you, by the way. He's all alone, and I'm like, I'll
Yeah, that's what I've got. One lone gold.
Yeah, I see him.
Killie.
I see him. Yeah, I totally see him.
Formosa.
So.
There's Formosa.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody.
She looks like she's ready to pop.
Yeah, she is. Somebody posted a picture today of golden Formosa.
I heard about those.
I've never seen them before. They're really pretty.
Are they? I don't think I've seen them.
Very impressed.
Oh gosh.
They're solid gold.
Oh, and I've got. Okay. So my little 3-gallon. Oh, and by the way, I keep a bottle of this. Because I have so many. I keep a bottle of this at work because I have a 3-gallon bowl that I have Formosa in, along with, you know, shrimp and stuff. And so I just, you know, I either bring in vegetables or I feed them vinegar eels, but I do that generally once a week. If that. That bowl's pretty self-sustaining. No algae either. Bunny viper check. Yes.
Definitely get that again.
Yeah. Yeah, we are missing a few. Yeah, but I mean, you know, hell, vinegar eels are actually one of the vinegar eels are actually the easiest thing to ship by a mail because they don't, I mean, it's the easiest thing to ship them.
Yeah. The ones you shipped me did fine.
Yeah.
That's the only thing it did really fine.
Yeah, I bet. Well, I mean, what about the scuds?
I don't think they made it.
Not all of them?
Remember. Did
well,
we
I sent you two. One of them they didn't make. The other one they did make.
That's right.
Yeah. But
yeah,
I mean,
that's what I meant, one of these so they're still around here.
They're definitely there. They'll build up their numbers eventually. They breed so prolifically. They'll build up their numbers eventually, but what you really need to do is like look for any activity at night, because you put a boiled vegetable in there at night, you'll see exactly how many you have.
Yeah, absolutely, Bunny Viper. That's all good stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, so that's my cultures. I keep I'd love to be able to expand my Daphnia culture again, but at one point I was running out of fish to feed them too.
Right.
Yeah. But my patio pond's doing really, really well. I've got shrimp in there, and I've got some baby Elisoma. They're growing big, and I've got some blonde endlers in there, and they keep popping out. I've tried the eggs, Chris. He's asking. I've tried the eggs, but I mean, I didn't know what I was doing.
Um, Daphne is something that you can culture from the wild because they're big enough to be able to separate out and create a pure culture.
Yeah,
I have
they're.
a friend, had a friend years ago who cultured paramecium from wild culture, and he did it with a microscope and actually separated out enough of the paramecium to be able to do pure culture. He was raising goldfish by the millions, so he needed substantial pure cultures, and he just learned how to do it. If his culture crashed to the point where he had to start over, he would go out to the pond, haul some stuff in, and start going through it and separate out individual paramecium.
That actually sounds like some of the things I've done.
Yeah, it's remarkable. Well, he did have some tricks. I mean, it
Yeah,
wasn't altogether counting one by one.
that's what I was
He
doing
got
at
a
first.
culture going, and it was very thick, and he would attract it to
Yeah.
the side with a light and then siphon that out. Do that
Mhm.
a few times, and you wind up with a pure culture.
Yeah. I might start my brine shrimp culture all over again. It was interesting. I want to do a larger container though. And the thing is, though, is that like, do I want to? It's getting cold, so should I do a brine shrimp culture outside or should I do it inside? If I do it inside, I'd have to actually feed them. I kind of the brine shrimp culture that was left on my patio, it was pretty much just self-sustaining. I didn't have
Well,
anything
it
to do with
really
it.
is because they eat the algae
Hmm.
that grows in natural sunlight.
Yeah. And I'm still
Here's
getting green water out
happens.
there.
What happens is the eggs, brine shrimp eggs, are a winter crop.
Uh-huh.
They exist only in the winter. And the reason they do is because when it starts to get cold, the adult Daphne, which have been producing offspring all summer, just essentially live. I mean, they hold the eggs until they hatch and they come out like a shrimp. Same
Yeah.
idea as a shrimp.
Oh.
When it gets cold, they encapsulate those eggs and they hold them until it gets so cold that they die. And the eggs float to the top and are blown by the wind and the current to the shore. And they sit on the shore and dry out through the winter. Spring comes, everything thaws, they get blown back out in the water and hatch and start a new generation.
Oh.
So they are um, harvested in the late fall and throughout the winter on shore. They get these huge piles of them. They take them inland and pile them up outside so it rains on them and snows, and that washes them out. And then they
Oh,
take them in and dry them and pack them. They will last for five
years.
to 10 years. Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know it was that long. Wow.
but each year there's about a 10% lower hatch rate. So you
Okay.
get a 90% hatch rate year one. Year two, it's
Ah,
about 80 and so forth.
okay. All right. Oh, well, maybe I should start using up my brine shrimp eggs then. Uh,
Well, they're good. Yeah, you don't need to throw them away.
yeah. Um,
The
you
only
were,
thing that can happen is that moisture gets in them, they can rot.
oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I have them in the freezer
They're
in a,
probably fine
yeah, in a
so
sealed
long as it's
bag.
sealed.
Yeah, yeah, a sealed bag. You were telling me like ages ago that if I wanted to get rid of duckweed, I should get some goldfish. You weren't kidding. Okay, so I had a couple of feeder fish left over from when the turtles mutilated my 75. And so I took them and I put them in a tank that it doesn't even have a filter. It just has duckweed. And all it took, I mean, they're making a dent in it. They're also making a dent in the scud culture, so I'm not really complaining too much. I have too many scuds.
Yeah, the way I got into a discussion with somebody
Yeah,
on Discord about this. Um, I think it was First Class Fish. Can't
yeah,
remember who it was, but I was making the comment that you need to help them out. You need to pull out as much duckweed as you can if your goal is to get rid of all of it. Because if you pull some out, then they're going to go looking for what's left and they'll be able to clean it up. If you got an inch of duckweed, they'll
uh-huh.
never get it all.
Oh, I just think it's fun to watch them.
Yeah, really.
Hmm.
Um, there are other fish that eat duckweed too, but they also eat everything else. Of course, goldfish do too, for that matter, but they're not quite as bad.
No, they're not. Didn't you say like what was that? That silver dollars or what was that fish?
Silver dollar, yeah. There are a couple of them. Silver
But they'll
dollar.
eat. But they'll eat everything.
The Osphornemus garami,
Hmm.
Iwaru,
Oh yeah, Iwaru. That's what you were talking about. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So that explains. Oh well, I mean, I'm not keeping the goldfish long term. I think what I'll end up doing is when the pond is fully built, I'll just put them in there, and maybe I'll just go to the store every once in a while, grab a feeder fish, take care of my duckweed, and then and then take them to the turtle pond at school. So, yep.
Chris Robertson says, I've not had duckweed in 6 months thanks to one goldfish.
Yep. Love
Bunny,
that.
Bunny Viper wants a Pandawiro. I have a
Yep.
friend who got a colony of Pandawiro, got them little and grew them out. He got them big, had them in a 100-gallon cube tank.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's a guy who he's a biologist by trade, works for the state, a excellent fish keeper. Never got him to breed, couldn't keep him going. Eventually, it got down to one.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of fish can you put with goldfish? You can put anything at all with goldfish.
Well, I mean, the goldfish prefer colder temperatures, so I wouldn't recommend a beta with the goldfish.
Wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, I mean, they'd live. They'd be fine.
The goldfish will live in warm water. I mean, it lives in cold water, but it'll live in warm water as well. First Class Fish Bet is losing his battle with Popeye.
It's pop. Don't do Epsom salt. Do aquarium salt dip. That's a bacteria
Yeah, it's
infection.
a bacteria, right?
So Epsom salts don't attack bacteria. Epsom salts are good for, you know, constipation or a bad swim bladder. um, do the salt dip. Do a high concentrated salt dip, and then for like a certain amount of minutes, and then put them in a less concentrated salt dip so you can acclimatize them back to the tank. And you know, it's a Hail Mary, but it worked for me one time. Actually, it worked for me the one time I tried it. I haven't tried it since. Because I haven't had an infection. I mean, yeah, I haven't had my betta fish haven't had infections, thankfully. Knock on wood.
Who has archer fish?
Oh, I heard about those. They are so cool. I was talking to somebody in a pet store about them.
First class fishes saying you have archer. Who are you talking to? Who has archers? I missed it. Oh, Bunny Viper.
Yeah. Oh, she's got 2 types. Tell me more. Tell me what types.
Oh, that's right. She has the cloud archer.
Mm-hmm. Burmese.
Archers. They get pretty good size, like 4 to 6 inches.
They can, yeah, I've heard that. Are there any is there any archer species that are really tiny or tinier?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Oh. What do you think of peacock gudgeons? Are they cool to keep?
Oh yeah, they don't get real big either, and they're very colorful.
Mm-hmm. Are the females just as colorful?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, in fact, I think I don't think there's much difference between the male and the female gudgeon in terms of pattern.
What's the how do you keep them? Like, what's the minimum tank? A pair of them.
They're an air breather, I believe.
Are they?
They're a lurker. They tend to just kind of park themselves.
Oh,
They're
like
small. They don't get real big. You keep in a 10-gallon tank.
Okay. I'm going to be setting up a 10-gallon tank at my work. I only have a 3-gallon.
Predaceous.
The what?
It's a predaceous fish.
Oh.
It'll eat tiny stuff.
It will eat tiny stuff?
Yeah.
Well, good. It'll eat the scuds then.
Small scale and Burmese clouded. She has. Wow.
Oh, so they take care of their young just like Scarlet Bass? You know, that means I can put a pair in a 10-gallon, feed them plenty of live food, and they'll just make babies without any help from me.
What are you talking about?
Look, pea gudgeons are, First Class Fish says they have parental care. They care for their young. It means I can stick them in a 10-gallon, we'll put some leaf litter in there and plants and make sure they have live food. And
there you go.
And they'll breed without my help.
Right.
Yeah.
I've had archers. They're very cool. I really like them. I used to get them in the shop all the time and was real excited to have them. They're a little hard to come by.
Why is that?
And just because they have to be caught wild. Nobody is breeding them. So they got to come out of a wild environment.
How do you do that?
So somebody's got to catch them and ship them. And they're not all that common.
Can you breed them, or why is it so difficult to?
They have, to my knowledge, they've never been bred in captivity.
Really? They, I guess they like, moving water. Or where bugs are, because like they spit at the bugs, right? Like,
yeah. So they're a river fish.
Oh, so they would do well with hill stream loaches. You'd have to have fast moving water, probably cooler.
Yeah, probably.
You
They're
could probably
they would be in two different stratas.
right, exactly.
One,
It would be a nice
the
balance.
larger stays at the top,
Mm-hmm.
and the hill stream stays on rocks.
Yeah,
So
on
they're
the bottom.
essentially on the bottom.
Yeah, I know. I've seen them. They love being on rocks and also on the glass. So how big of a container or how big of an aquarium? Because you said they get a pretty good size.
What would you keep them in? I would keep them in something fairly deep,
Mm-hmm.
maybe a 55.
Okay. What about a 75?
Yeah, well, the same difference. Yeah. No, I was thinking minimum 55.
Ah,
75 is the same tank,
uh-huh.
6 inches deeper front to back.
Yes.
It's a nice tank. My
Yeah.
favorite all-time tank is the 120. It's 4x2 by 18 or 2.
Yeah. Well, I don't have the
18.
space for a 120, but
4x2 is 8, 16, 8. So, yeah,
I know
4x2 by 18.
I know if I get a 120, my husband would be like, put something bigger in there. I
Right.
figured out what his preferences are. I like the tiny nano fish, but he's all about something bigger and interesting but to look at.
You need to
We'll
get them a
interact.
couple of Oscars. Set up a 55 for them and get some Oscars.
Oscars, well, but I couldn't keep them at a 55 for long.
Sure, you can. They'll be all right in there for a couple of years.
Right, but then now,
Don't overfeed them.
okay. So if I were to put a couple of Oscars in
Yeah, you see,
seven,
if they get big enough and he's attached to them enough, and you got yourself a 200-gallon tank.
oh, I see. Oh, I like the way you think. You sneaky devil, you. Oh, as a fish keeper for over 75 years, you're you know all the tricks to get to coerce people into buying bigger.
Oh, you bet. You bet.
Yeah. Nice. Oh,
Well, that's funny. Buddy says the archer will shoot the owners for food.
yeah, I've heard that. You can
Yeah,
actually.
that's funny.
I don't think they shot the like. I don't think I've heard it put that way. I think it was like, oh, I've trained them to shoot at me whenever they're see me approaching because they know it's food. I'm like, oh wait, Buddy's got a better take on it. They see the owners as food.
Now, Cornish is saying that he had archers in with mud skippers, and that's really interesting because mud skippers need to be able to come out of the water. He had them in at 55. So he had this 55 terrace with a pool probably halfway, which would be about 8 inches, 8 to 10 inches of water with the substrate coming up out of the water
Oh, neat.
or right to the surface of it for the mud skippers to be able to get a. That's pretty cool. It'd be hard to maintain.
That would be actually. You'd be fighting against it going sloping down all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah. The who says, oh yeah, first class says I'd buy 120 gallon, just have nano
Still
fish.
have nanos, I know.
I've learned my lesson on that a little bit, and this is why. I had my 75. All I had was nano fish, with maybe the exception of a Siamese fighter fish. All they were was like anything 2 inches and under. Like 2 inches was still too big. I wanted like an inch and a half at the most. And you know what ended up happening is they kept breeding, and you know how hard it is to catch those babies. I had to tear the entire tank apart just to catch 50 baby Elisoma. Not Elisoma. That was a different one. But no, like Everglade.
Scarlet Banners.
Yeah, it was a pain to do. And then now I'm like now I'm trying to figure out what to do with it, and I'm like, Oh man, I don't think I can put more small fish in there. They're a pain to catch. They're awful. Do you remember that one time it was on camera, like you were watching me try to catch
Yeah, I still got
three.
that video. It's
Oh
like a
God.
2-hour video.
It's a 2-hour video for me to catch two, and then we still missed one.
Funny.
Oh God, it was never memories. Maybe so. I think with the 75, I'm gonna do something that's a little. I mean, maybe I'll do like a 2 to 3 inch fish in there, or get a couple of Oscars and watch my husband become bond with them, and then eventually get a 200-gallon.
Right. That works.
Yeah. But I think my favorite size tank, because I love nanofish so much, is a 10-gallon.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It gives you variety because you can have a bunch of them. I've got this 40-gallon
Mm-hmm.
is essentially three 10-gallon tanks.
Yeah.
It's not quite, but you could break it up that way.
Yeah. I mean, with the 10-gallon, you can put in.
Three completely different environments.
Yeah. Exactly. And then, of course, I can build an environment, a complete ecosystem in that environment. And it's like it's not so small that it's too difficult, although I've been very successful 3-gallon bowls, but it's not too difficult. It's not too small that it's like the larger it is, the easier it is to create an ecosystem without it crashing. Um, but it's not so big that it takes up too much space. I wanted to ask you, the 10-gallon I'm going to set up at work, or I want to set up at work. I don't really want a filter. Can I set it up so that I don't need a filter? Well, I have to have some, because other than the light at work, I don't want to have any noise there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
Just plan it out.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, of course.
Do you have any supplement left? Did I send you supplement?
I've been saving some for that specifically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that'll help.
Yeah. I figured that's what I was going to do. I was going to do that, and then I was going to reset up some of my Blue Dream shrimp, and then figure out the rest of the fish along the way. Maybe peacock gudgeons. I know
They'll eat the shrimp.
They'll eat the adult shrimp.
Shrimp.
Right.
Yeah.
I've had that before. I mean, like my scarlet baddises eat the baby shrimp. The Elisoma eats the baby shrimp. But if I have enough hiding places, the shrimp will still breed. Right. I know peacock gudgeons are really a lot more voracious. What do you think? I feel like an ecosystem isn't complete without, shrimp and snails in there.
Yeah, gudgeon is any kind of goby.
Uh-huh.
You could do bumblebee goby. They're tiny.
They are tiny.
You could do stiffodons.
What's
I
stiffodon?
was just looking at stiffodons today.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get a picture of them.
Ooh.
They're about 2 inches.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, the other option really is a betta fish, but
Yeah, check this out.
Mm-hmm. They suggest that I get an nano air pump that runs on a USB. You can't hear those running. I'll have to look into it.
What's going on here?
Or I can just plant it out. Although I do want a little bit of water movement, so that might be the way to go.
Are you screwing me up here? I can't get.
Nah, I'm not touching nothing. Oh, look, he came out. I think he got out. So we're going to present. Ooh, and he's back.
Yeah,
You were gone for a second there.
I know. I I don't know what's going on. Let me.
Cancel.
I'm trying to get a picture up here.
Oh, maybe it's
There,
so what am I okay.
I got it.
You got it? Ah. Oh, what are those?
Stiffodon. It's a goby. It's a
Those are
tiny goby. Inch and
gorgeous.
a half long.
Oh, they're gorgeous.
Aren't they pretty? Yeah.
I want.
Yeah, I was looking at them today. They're available. They were on the list today.
I want. I want a pair. Would they work well with Bunny mentions that they're really good with beta fish.
Yeah, they are. That's true.
Okay, so they occupy the bottom and because I've got a beta fish and he's actually a placket and he's brutal on
We ought to
shrimp.
try to get these. That's a nice fish.
Yeah, I don't know if I should. I think I got it. Okay, so I don't think I can use that beta fish because he's actually he doesn't do well with tank mates. So unfortunately, I got a second beta fish that doesn't do well with tank mates. Dang it! Seems like the only betas that do well with tank mates are the
Yeah, I've decided I'm going to get a bunch of bettas and
betas. Yes,
about a dozen males and a dozen females.
yeah. I've discovered that the only betas do well.
Bettas have become insane.
Yeah, they have.
Anything that's got any color is wholesale, $15. Wholesale.
What?
Honest
They
to
sell.
God.
They sell. They give them away here.
I'm talking about blacks, mustard gas.
Yeah, and that's what I'm
Any of
talking
the
about.
real oddball stuff.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm talking about. They're giving them away here. There's so many of them. I literally walk into a fish store and say, and I mean, at one point they were like, "Oh, you have kids? Congratulations! We're giving away if
Local breeders.
We have a lot.
Breeders, that's
we
why.
have a lot of local beta fish breeders, like a lot of them.
Yeah, it makes a big
They're
difference.
Gorgeous.
I can't get them wholesale anymore. It used to be that all bettas were one price.
Yeah. No, now they have
$1 and a half wholesale for a male betta, 95 cents for a female. This was 25 years ago.
Yeah, and gas used to be under $1 25 years ago. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I
Yeah,
wasn't there
it's
for
become
that.
completely bizarre.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I can get a mustard gas for under $10 here with the most gorgeous fins.
Well, I'll have to have you do some shopping for me.
Okay. Yeah. Well, the issue is having to ship it. So
they ship really easily.
Oh.
Bettas ship easier than any other fish.
There is a shop that I know right now that are selling gorgeous fish for $5. Gorgeous.
Bettas.
Bettas. $5.
Nice.
I'll take a picture next time I'm there. And I'm looking at half moons with beautiful colors. Koi half moons.
Wow.
$5.
Yeah. All right. You're on.
Actually, I don't think I've ever spent more than $7.99 was the most I ever spent on a beta fish.
Oh, I know. Me too.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? I did see a giant beta, by the way. Beta.
Yeah, I've had giants.
Yeah, and they were around the same. I think they were around the same price of.
What the hell is Luke?
Luke found gas for under $1.
He's screwing with us. Look at that.
Yes, he is. But so is Craig. Look at this
$8.
one.
Yeah.
Question.
You think a Flaco's first meal is its parents?
Poop.
Good question.
I'm pretty sure that's we're not meant to answer that one. Craig's a secret troll. Who knew?
Well, Craig's spawning them.
Yes, I know. I've seen some of his footage and some of his pictures. They're really pretty.
Well, they come out of the cave when they start eating. I
Mhm.
don't think they're eating in the cave.
Oh, wait.
Yeah,
So I have a Galaxy Koi placket. We call it, my daughter calls him Zephyrus. I got him for free. Just saying.
all right, you're on. We'll do it. Need to
Okay.
get better. I got all these jars I've been collecting. I have jars everywhere, all for bettas and
They
whatnot.
get, yeah. So, I mean, here's the thing though, is you got to be able, like, there are bettas out there that, I mean, if I go to Petco right now, I have to pay $25 for a fancy beta. Or if you kind of go to a local shop that takes in local betas, God, it's terrible. They have different hierarchies, and depending how long the beta's been in there, sometimes you can get them like for under $10, or it's like a buy one get one free, or like I told you, that shop that I saw that literally had gorgeous betas for $5, and they were still. Oh, by the way, they had so many. They were, you buy one for $5, you get a second one free. I'm not even kidding. Yeah, that was months ago. I'm not even kidding. I was looking at it going, that's why I told you, like, I don't really think I wanted, or at least I didn't used to want to breed a beta, because I'm like, there's so many of them. So many.
I'll tell you what's spectacular though. Somebody was asking me the other day how you get a colony of bettas. And it's really quite simple to do. You start with a pair, a male and a couple of females. Put the male in a tank, 10-gallon or better. Float the females in jars in with them or next to them. Once he blows a bubble nest, you put the females in. Now you got to be feeding them and keeping them, egged up.
So like dividers.
Huh?
So like literally that tank behind you, you could put the male, and you could put dividers in it, put the male in the middle, and have females on either side of him. He
Right.
blows a bubble nest, and out go the dividers.
Right. And then they'll spawn. Then once they spawn, you take the females out. Leave the male in with them because he kind of fools around with them a bit. He won't eat the babies.
No, he
After
won't.
about a week, you take the male out and start feeding the babies on microworm or vinegar eel.
Vinegar meals for the
and,
win.
and then graduate to Daphne or brine shrimp and just leave them in there. And what'll happen is, after about 2 months, you'll have 100 or more bettas, an inch plus long, full of all kinds of color. They'll be absolutely stunning, and they'll all be living together in one tank. And they will not fight so long as they're together.
Yeah, because they grew up together. I've heard that actually. There was it you who was telling me about a guy who had like literally 3 male bettas in a tank, or 4 males? There were
Oh,
3.
I did it for a while.
Yeah. All right, fine. When I get things settled here, I'll turn my 75-gallon into a beta breeding colony and see what happens. And I'll just, I just need to get my hands on a crown tail female.
Right.
Male half moons are easy to go get.
The other thing that happens with bettas, you put a male and a female together. If the female's ready to spawn and the male is not, she will dominate him and he'll never breed after that.
Yeah.
She destroys his testosterone.
Yeah.
Look at this. Look at this.
I know they're so pretty.
Luke's
They're
coming
so
up
pretty.
with the bettas, I know.
Yeah, I know. I was looking at betas for months until I found my perfect beta, and he was the red, white, and blue, and then
Look at that purple. Wow.
Wow, that's
Never
new.
I've
How do
never
you
seen
do that?
color. Never saw that color.
I've never. It's got to be Photoshop. Photoshop. Yeah,
It could be.
Facebook.
I don't know.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
I've
there's
had these as black orchids. And I had a woman once who ordered 25 white male bettas from me,
Oh yeah.
and I managed to find them. Look at
Um,
that. That's stunning.
yeah, the mustard gas. Yep, they're a
Yeah.
dime a dozen here. I'm telling you, man, they're not even on the special list anymore. When I get a crown tail female, I want a red crown tail female because blue tends to be a dominant color. So if I'm going to try to go for the red, white, and blue or any sort of variety, I want the female to be a red crown tail. I don't know. I'm just in my mind. I'm
Yeah,
thinking,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, because what often
Yeah,
ends up
I like the
happening,
half moons. I like the crown tails.
yeah. But if you
I
put
like
them
the
together,
roans. Yeah.
yeah, I'm thinking I want a red crown tail female because whatever male beta I get will probably have red and blue in it. But I want the red. Often when they get older, the blue tends to dominate over the red color because betas their color does change over time.
God, look at
It's
that. That is
I,
amazing.
I know. Look
Never
at the
saw her.
feather. Look at the red one on top. So apparently they call the half moon when you put a cross a crown tail and a half moon together, they create like a feather rose tail. It's supposed to be gorgeous.
Right.
Chris actually makes a point about the white male betas. It sounds like they
Winning
were.
center price. Yeah, absolutely.
It's very likely.
Absolutely. Whoa. Look at that.
Wow. Yes, I've seen that color actually, and I see more and more often these
Gold and
days
black.
is
It's
believe
like
it or not,
like
koi
high school colors.
koi half moons. I've been seeing those too.
There's a koi.
Hmm.
That's a rainbow. He's
Yep.
got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 colors in that fish.
I don't know. That's got to be that's got to be Photoshop. What I see more is like a white with a lot of blue and orange spots, half moons. I see those a lot. Yeah, that one beta up there like has the colors that are sectioned off. That doesn't look realistic. I see a lot of Dumbos, by the way. A lot of Dumbos. White
Yeah,
Dumbo, those are very
I like
popular
the
right now.
Dumbos.
Yeah. Oh, Chris, you got a red crown tail female? Oh, wait, a white, red, and blue crown tail female. Hmm.
Nice.
Interesting thoughts. And there's somebody here in where I live. She's been breeding veil tail betas, but the colors that she's doing are really quite spectacular. So she's taking the old school fins and she's breeding specific colors with it. And it's really gorgeous. It's
Well,
like a new spin on the traditional beta fish.
I had one of the first koi.
Yeah, you gave it away practically
No, I sold it.
for like $200 or something, right?
$246
Damn.
got for that fish
Mhm.
on Aquabid. Had two women bidding for it.
Figures to be two women.
That's crazy.
Yeah. First class fish has a really good question because I do experience that.
Where are we? What is it?
How often do they, I think not two, it's supposed to be the fancy tail, the half moon betas chew their fins. And he hears it's common, and it is.
Oh, I don't think it's true. I don't think it's true. For one thing, they can't chew their own fins.
No, it's the longer ones. They kind of, it's been, apparently they turn around, they chew their fins.
No,
Yeah?
no.
No?
I don't think so.
Then what is it? Because it does happen.
Well, are there two of them in there?
No.
They'll fight.
Nope.
Well, the fins are very delicate. Wouldn't take much for them to get ripped or messed up.
This is true. I actually had one of my veil tails. I realized there were sharp objects because his fins were, his pectoral fins were getting ripped up a bit. I'm like, oh, well, there's a stick in there with sharp objects. So I had to move them.
They're very delicate.
Yeah, they are. But, I've never had. I come to think of it, I've never had a betta fish that, to my knowledge, eat his own tail. I've had things attack them.
Right. I don't. I think it's not true.
Well, I wonder if it is true if they do it out of boredom, because I've never had that problem because there's always something to hunt.
Boredom.
It's not fin
We
rot.
had,
I've
we
had I had a
had,
betta fish at the very beginning of my fish keeping that had fin rot. It's not fin rot. It's they literally are torn fins, which can get infected.
yeah, well, you sure can.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's damage from environmental damage.
I do know I had heard that betta fish can, those half moons, if the flow is too high or it's too hard for them to swim, they'll go after their own tail because they're being held back.
What is this? I had a glowfish female that ate her own eggs. Now, what are you talking about? All fish nearly will eat eggs.
Female crontails often get egg bound.
Well, there was something else. She's coming
Oh,
up with
this one. She had a glowfish female that ate her own eggs. I mean, wouldn't female? I thought that's why the male would chase the females away because they would eat eggs.
No, glowfish are something else. I mean, that's
Yeah, glowfish are.
They spawn the way tetras do. Their
Yeah.
egg scatterer.
Mm-hmm.
So the egg has to somehow escape predation, and anything will predate it. I mean, yeah, they'll eat their own eggs.
I had a long fin beta and I took him out of the 75 and I put him in a 20-gallon. There was plenty of plants in there and it was just like a holding tank for now. It was like perfect ecosystem. I noticed his fins were getting a little frayed. I wonder if it was, I tried to treat him, but the heater malfunctioned and it literally boiled him, and I was just so upset. It was because I noticed his fins were getting a little frayed, and I wondered if it was because of the stress, because there wasn't anything in there for him to, it was basically all the same tank mates.
I think it's like anything else.
Uh-huh.
The older they get, the weaker they get, the thinner and more damage their fins get. Unless you got them in an environment where nothing can injure them,
Uh-huh.
they're going to get frayed.
This is true.
And the older they get, the more frayed they'll get.
But they say the fins do grow back. I've never had
slowly.
Yeah. Yes.
The thing is, fins don't have blood circulating in them. So they have to grow by osmotic attraction.
Sorry, Luke. There's no people aren't going to the live stream to read stuff. Luke, just put up pictures, dude. Come on, my attention span's like 18 seconds. I can't read that. Why do you think I watch videos? I'm kidding. I read too. Bunny's still talking about that story with that. It's crazy. Like, you know what? We can talk about what betas do in general, but I mean, I had a beta that loved cucumber seeds. So, I mean, like they'll still surprise you.
Okay, so the fish, they will spawn whether there's a female will eject eggs if they're ready to be ejected, whether there's a male there or not. They'll just,
Yeah, like my bearded dragon.
Yeah,
She'll
yeah,
lay eggs.
and then they become food at that point.
Oh, sorry, Luke. My bad.
That is self-flagellation.
hmm Yeah, they are beta. I don't think I've ever had a betta fish that's okay. So my pea puffers I can kind of tell them that, apart. They're definitely very cute. They're very interactive. But they're still a collective. Beta fish like demand to be the individual star of the show. That they're just so different in personalities. Um, First class fish. So if it does happen, like they eat their own fins, I do believe it's either out of self-preservation or they're bored. I can see the boredom because I find that fish tend to be more aggressive if they don't have something to hunt or something to do. Really, in a sterile environment, all they are is looking around, just with nothing to stimulate. In a complete food web ecosystem, there's always something to watch and to trigger that instinct. That's how I feel about it. Chris says he had a betta that liked to sleep out of the water on top of a leaf. Yeah, I mean they're just all so different. I've got a couple of betta fish that I can literally feed. I take a worm in my hand and they literally feed from me.
Oh dear. All right, we're full of betta stuff here.
Yeah, we are. It's 8:30.
For half an hour. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. We've been here an hour and a half.
We have, and normally I would say let's keep going, but like I said, I had a house full of teenagers, and
We're kind of running out of gas too.
Oh, it's a safe environment. They're good kids.
Bettas is a rabbit hole.
Yeah, they are. They can be. I think the next time I have these teenagers over, I'm gonna make them mess around with my fish tank so they can do like water changes or garden and stuff like that. Right. So I'll get them involved in the ecosystem.
Perfect.
Yeah. All right. But
all right, my dear,
it was good to be here.
Love you all. Good to be with you. We'll be here. I'll be back tomorrow night with Mary Page.
Yes.
6:00, and we've got a new contest coming up.
Ooh.
That we'll announce tomorrow. It has to do with video clips of your natural aquarium. So be prepared. We're going to talk about it tomorrow night.
You know what I really want to see? I want to see an aquarium that hasn't been messed with in years. Like the only thing, like no food, the only thing that you add to it is just simply adding water because, top offs. I want to see one of those. What does it look like? What happens when you let the plants grow wild?
Right. Well, this one pretty much, I mean, I've got your plant in there.
Yes.
Madagascar Lake.
My pretty
Everything
baby.
else in there has been there for years.
Oh, that's the one.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that pleco. It's so cute.
It's a female. I got 2 females in here. I need a male.
All right.
I think I do. Maybe I only have one.
It's really pretty. Okay. No more delaying. I need to go sleep.
All right, guys. Good to get you all. See you tomorrow night. God bless. Bye.